Welcome back, everybody. In this episode, we are doing a Lamb Wellington. So this whole thing really comes together starting with mushrooms, which is a duxelle. So here I've got baby Bella mushrooms. I used a whole small package of them with about 10 cloves of garlic, and I'm adding to that some lightly salted pistachios. So you're gonna put this in your food processor and you're just gonna give it a really good blitz and then add in some dried rosemary. So you're gonna have to scrape your food processor a few times on this, and there's a lot of moisture in the mushrooms, so it does stick a bit, but you can see here as you start to bring this all together and kind of pull it from the sides, it turns into a bit of a paste, and that's what we're looking for because that's what we're going to coat it with. So from here, I had about a 5-pound boneless leg of lamb. So I'm not going to use all 5 pounds, obviously, but I definitely wanted to try this out because I had this lamb and I wasn't sure what to do with it. So what I started to do was break this down into individual portions. And so since I was feeding 6, I wanted to make 6. So just take the lamb and start cutting it up, and really you're looking to get all of your pieces about equal size. You can see I'm trimming these down until they're all roughly the same size. And then also don't be afraid to trim off a little bit of that fat. There's a lot of fat in lamb, so get the silver skin, get the fat, and next into a hot pan with avocado oil. After I salted and peppered the lamb, I'm just giving it a good sear. Make sure you sear this on all sides, even the tips. And when you get it to where it needs to be, it should look like this. Now the next important step in this process is that as soon as you pull the lamb out of the pan, you want to immediately brush it down with an English mustard. So I'm using Coleman's English mustard, and if you've ever had an English mustard, it is very, it's got heat, and it's also very reminiscent of like horseradish. It's got that bright kind of peppery flavor to it. So as the meat actually relaxes, it's gonna suck in that mustard flavor. And once you get it to this point, you're literally just gonna let that sit, and then we are gonna cook the duxelle out. So the goal here is to get as much of the liquid out of the mushrooms as you can. And so you can see here how much steam is coming out of this pan. A note here is that there's no oil in the pan, it's literally just the straight mushrooms, and once you get that cooked out, it should look something like this. Now be patient because that took me about 30 minutes of slow cooking to get that out. From here, we're gonna take a puff pastry sheet and we're just gonna lay out a nice thin layer of that mushroom mixture, and this is what that lamb is gonna get put on top of and then rolled. So pro tip, if you wanna make this even better, before you put that lamb, lay out some thin pieces of prosciutto and then roll the lamb, and that will just elevate this to the next level. But from here, you're gonna roll this up, very similar to rolling out a roll of sushi. And don't be afraid to tuck the sides because we're trying to make this into a nice little package. You're gonna have some extra, so make sure you get a knife and just trim off that extra so that it is nice and uniform. Tuck in your sides nice and even, and then give it a good roll. If you want a little extra sealant, I guess we'll say, use an egg wash here to seal the rest of that. I didn't because I let this thaw out to where it was very soft. Once you get these all rolled, you're gonna put these onto a sheet covered with parchment paper, and next we will put an egg wash all over the puff pastry dough on here. And what this does is help give these a beautiful gloss and shine. So if you've never worked with an egg wash, it's literally just one cracked egg in a bowl with a little bit of water and you whisk it up. So we brush these down very generously. The whole time we've had our oven preheating to 375 degrees. And then lastly, once you get it coated, take the back of your knife and score it. This is optional, you don't have to do it, but it definitely makes it look really fancy when it comes out of the oven. And once you get all of these scored, and you can get really decorative with this if you want. This is just how I'm doing it. Once they're scored, this is ready to go. So you're gonna pop this into an oven and you're going to let this cook until your puff pastries look something like this, golden brown and delicious. So you're targeting to get the lamb medium rare inside. And so you're gonna let these sit for about 10 minutes to cool down. And once they are done, we cut them. And there we go. You see all those juices from the mushrooms and the lamb, and this is just beautiful. I served this up with some asparagus and some garlic mash.